If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns head into this offseason facing a subtle yet significant challenge in their defensive backfield. A quiet but impactful shift has taken place. Juan Thornhill, one of the team's starting safeties, is no longer part of the squad. His departure didn't make major headlines, and perhaps that's fitting. Thornhill was never quite the centerpiece of the Browns secondary. Still, his exit leaves a tangible void. He brought consistency, versatility, and veteran presence to the defense. And while he wasn't known for being a dominant lockdown defender, he was a reliable piece in the bigger puzzle. Now, with his spot vacant, the Browns must act decisively to ensure that the back end of their defense doesn't suffer in his absence. This moment of transition presents both a challenge and an opportunity. While the team could try to patch up the gap with a mid-tier free agent or hope that internal development fills the hole, there is a louder call. One that echoes through the halls of Berea and across the voices of local analysts. One such voice, Lance Riesland of Cleveland.com, has made his position clear. The Browns cannot afford to treat the safety position as an afterthought. In a recent column that stirred conversation among Browns faithful, Riesland laid out his vision for how Cleveland should approach the problem. He didn't merely suggest scanning the late rounds for a developmental player or hoping to strike gold with a sleeper pick. No, his suggestion was bold and unrelenting. If the Browns want to truly upgrade their secondary and future-proof this defense, they should consider trading back into the first round of the NFL draft. The target? A game changer from the University of Georgia named Malachi Starks. Riesland didn't mince words. He praised Starks not only for his raw athleticism, but for how seamlessly he would fit into the defensive scheme currently operated by Jim Schwartz. According to Riesland, Cleveland would most likely have to trade back into the first round to get Starks. His speed, length, 77 and 6 8-inch wingspan, experience, 40 college starts, and overall athleticism make him the perfect fit as a deep one hi-hat safety in the Schwartz scheme. It's not hard to see why Starks has caught the attention of scouts, analysts, and NFL front offices alike. He is the kind of player that jumps off the tape, not just because of highlight reel plays, but because of how naturally he moves. On the field, his instincts, explosiveness, and fluid transitions from coverage to tackling make him a rare breed in today's game. At Georgia, one of college football's most respected programs, Starks didn't just participate, he led. Over the course of his collegiate career, he made 40 starts, a testament to both his durability and the trust his coaches placed in him. He accumulated a remarkable stat line: 197 total tackles, 17 passes defended, 6 tackles for loss, and 6 interceptions. These aren't just numbers. They are reflections of a player who consistently found himself in the right place at the right time, whether it was diagnosing a screen pass, closing in on a receiver over the middle, or tracking down a ball carrier in the open field. What makes Starks even more appealing is his versatility. He isn't locked into one role. While he excelled primarily as a free safety, playing deep, reading the quarterback's eyes, and offering support over the top, he also has the physicality to slide closer to the line of scrimmage and contribute. Against the run, he can play as a strong safety when needed, showing no hesitation in shedding blocks and delivering hits. This dual threat capability makes him an asset in any defensive scheme, especially one like Schwartz's, which demands discipline, athleticism, and a high football IQ from its safeties. Starks also possesses a rare combination of size and speed. His wingspan allows him to contest passes that would otherwise be out of reach, and his quick burst enables him to close gaps in a heartbeat. Whether it's a deep ball down the sideline or a slant across the middle, he has the acceleration and instincts to make a play on the ball. Few safeties in the draft class show this kind of range and anticipation. Of course, no prospect is perfect. As with any young player, there are areas where Starks still has room to grow. His aggressive style, while exciting to watch, sometimes gets the better of him. There are moments when he bites too hard on a play fake or crashes down too quickly in run support, leaving himself vulnerable to being beaten over the top. These lapses in judgment can lead to big plays. The kind of breakdowns that cost games in the NFL. But these mistakes are correctable. With the right coaching and experience, many scouts believe Starks can harness his aggression and refine it into calculated, smart decision-making. So now, the question becomes, will the Browns make the move? Will they package picks or assets? To climb back into the first round and land a talent like Starks, it's a tantalizing thought. The idea of pairing Grant Delpit with a rising star like Starks in the backfield. It could give Cleveland one of the most dynamic safety duos in the league and elevate the entire defense to another level. However, there are practical considerations that make this scenario unlikely. The Browns, after all, do not currently hold a first-round pick. To make this happen, they would need to orchestrate a trade, one that may require giving up a second-rounder and more. There's also the matter of the team's other needs. Some within the organization might argue that adding a quarterback like Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe could be a better use of capital, particularly if the front office harbors concerns about the long-term outlook at the quarterback position. Even if the Browns did maneuver their way back into the top 32, there's no guarantee Starks would still be available. He's a highly coveted prospect, and several teams ahead of Cleveland are also in need of help in the secondary. Waiting and hoping for him to fall would be risky, and trading up only to miss out on him would be disastrous. Yet despite the logistical hurdles, there's a feeling, a whisper among Browns fans and draft analysts, that this team is one calculated gamble away from assembling something truly special on defense. With Myles Garrett wreaking havoc on the defensive line and a promising group of young linebackers developing behind him, the idea of anchoring the secondary with a player like Starks is more than just wishful thinking. It's a vision, a statement of intent. And in a division where opposing offenses are getting more creative, more explosive, and more aggressive with each passing year, having a safety like Starks patrolling the back end could be the difference between contending for the AFC North and falling short once again. It could mean the difference between surviving in the playoffs and thriving in them. Only time will tell whether Andrew Berry and the Browns front office will decide to pull the trigger on such a move. But if they do, if they go all in on their own player like Malachi Starks, it could very well be the moment we look back on as the turning point. The moment the Browns didn't just try to replace a departing player, but chose to upgrade the position in a bold, aggressive fashion that signaled their belief in what this team can become. For now, all eyes remain on the draft board. And somewhere in Georgia, Malachi Starks waits, ready to take that next step. Whether it's in Cleveland or elsewhere, he knows his time is coming. The question is, will the Browns be the ones to seize it, enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Myles Garrett has always been the heart and soul of the Cleveland Browns defense. Since being drafted first overall in 2017, he became the face of the franchise, a dominant force off the edge, a leader in the locker room, and a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Browns fans embraced him not just for his elite talent, but for the hope he represented. He was the cornerstone of a team that had long been the punchline of the NFL, finally turning things around and demanding respect. So when news broke that Garrett had signed with one of Cleveland's most bitter rivals, it didn't just shake the NFL landscape. It shattered the hearts of an entire fan base. The announcement came out of nowhere. No rumors, no leaks, no cryptic tweets. Just a bombshell. Myles Garrett had agreed to terms with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, those Steelers, the team Browns fans have loved to hate for generations. A franchise synonymous with dominance, with hard-nosed football, with 6 Super Bowl titles, and with crushing the hopes of Cleveland time and time again. For Garrett to join that organization was more than a transfer. It felt like betrayal. Social media exploded. Browns Twitter, usually a passionate mix of optimism and frustration, became a battlefield of disbelief, anger, and heartbreak. Fans posted tribute videos, burned jerseys, and flooded Garrett's old posts with comments begging for answers. Local radio stations cleared their schedules to talk about nothing else. It wasn't just the loss of a superstar player. It was the psychological blow of seeing him don black and gold. And not just any player. This was Myles Garrett, The player many thought would retire in orange and brown, the man who had said he wanted to bring a championship to Cleveland. But from Pittsburgh's point of view, this was a masterstroke. Steelers had quietly been building a younger, faster, more aggressive defense, and adding Garrett to the mix instantly vaulted him into the conversation as one of the top units in the league. Pairing him with TJ Watt on the opposite edge. That's not fair. That's the kind of move that keeps offensive coordinators up at night. Two of the NFL's most feared pass rushers now on the same team. It's a Madden fantasy come to life. And the message was clear. The Steelers weren't just retooling. They were going all in. As for Garrett's reasoning, initial reports suggest a combination of factors: a breakdown in contract extension talks with the Browns, a desire for a new environment, and perhaps most shockingly, a belief that the Steelers gave him a better chance to win. It's the kind of honesty that stings. Because while the Browns had been making progress in recent years, with playoff appearances and a bolstered roster, they still hadn't reached the consistency or the pedigree of their rivals in Pittsburgh. And Garrett, now entering the prime of his career, wasn't willing to wait anymore. It's also worth noting the personal dimension. Sources close to Garrett say he had grown increasingly frustrated with internal dysfunction in the Browns' front office and coaching staff. There were philosophical differences about how the defense should be run, disagreements about leadership roles, and even concerns about how injuries were handled. For years, Garrett had put on a brave face, kept his head down, and dominated on Sundays. But behind the scenes, tensions were simmering. When the opportunity came to hit free agency, he took meetings with several contenders. But it was the Steelers who offered him the clearest vision and, ironically, the most respect. His introductory press conference in Pittsburgh, Garrett struck a professional tone. He thanked the Browns organization, the fans, and his teammates. He called Cleveland a place that will always matter to me. But he didn't apologize. He didn't soften the blow. He spoke about championships, about legacy, about being remembered as one of the all-time greats, and how he believed that could happen in Pittsburgh. There was a quiet intensity in his voice, the same focus that's made him a perennial Pro Bowler. Only now, that fire burns for a different city. The Steelers fan base predictably erupted with joy. After years of trying to contain Garrett, they now get to cheer him on. Merchandise stores couldn't keep his jersey in stock. Headlines in Pittsburgh ran with phrases like "Steel Curtain Reinforced" and "Watt and Garrett, a dynasty in the making." But there was also a sense of gloating. They knew exactly what this meant to Browns fans. They understood the symbolic weight of stealing Cleveland's crown jewel, and they reveled in it. Meanwhile, in Cleveland, the wounds are still fresh. The team now faces a massive void, not just in terms of talent, but identity. Who steps up in Garrett's absence? Can the locker room recover from such a loss? Can the front office regain the trust of a fan base that feels blindsided and betrayed? These are the questions swirling in Berea, and the answers aren't coming anytime soon. What's certain is that the rivalry between the Browns and the Steelers, already one of the fiercest in the NFL, just found a new level of animosity. This wasn't just a transaction. This was a moment that will be remembered for decades. Like when Brett Favre joined the Vikings, like when LeBron left for Miami. These are the decisions that define careers, not just for the player, but for everyone involved. Myles Garrett took a risk. He left comfort for controversy, familiarity for fire, and whether it leads to glory or regret, only time will tell. But one thing is clear, the AFC North just got even more personal. As the season approaches, all eyes will be on the calendar waiting for that first Browns-Steelers matchup. The energy in the stadium will be electric, the boos deafening, the storylines endless. Garrett will line up across from the team that once adored him, with fans who once cheered now jeering, and he'll do what he's always done: attack, dominate, lead. Except this time, it'll be for the enemy. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!